Today I want to revisit a subject that's very close to my heart, and that's the courage to be disliked. We tend to think whenever we're going to do something special, break out of where we are now, maybe achieve an ambition you've always wanted to do, rediscover something you've given up and want to go back into, then everybody, your friends and family, be cheering on the sidelines, and they won't. The recent horrific, cowardly assassination of Charlie Kirk reminded me again of what happens when you've got something to say that threatens the narrative and the status quo, and you're going to get a large percentage of haters. People aren't, that's an extreme example. It's an extreme example, and it's incredibly unlikely that will happen to you. But what it does demonstrate is that if you've got something to say or you're going to do something, don't expect everybody to be behind you, because they won't. So many people I've coached, men and women, have said, oh, my husband will be really pleased, or my wife will really support me, and my friends and my family, and they never do. And they always come back to me saying, you were right. I've had so much conflict and friction from within the family household, within certain friends, and most people aren't prepared for this. Let me share with you, as a coach that's expanding on my mission to help young men and men in general re-empower themselves after the societal suppression of men that's taking place across the Western world. I've got my haters already. Some people would celebrate my death tomorrow if it happened. Some of them are very close. I've had people that have said that I don't care if you die. Some person even said that they don't care if I'm killed on the village green. There's been some incredible messages out there, but I'm ready for it. I've prepared myself a long time ago for this mission mentally. So I want you to keep in mind, it's not so much about the plan you're willing to do, but the mindset and the character that's going to push that plan through to be able to achieve that plan. Because if you go after a mission or an ambition with the objective of ignoring the chinks in your armour, ignoring the weaknesses that you have, you're going to fail. You're going to fail at some point. So I always say it's mindset before mission. Make sure you make a list of what you have, the traits within you that you want to let go. You know you must overcome them. And I want to mention here that these traits of jealousy, hatred, anger, violence, manipulation and control, which so many people suffer from, they're not you. You weren't born to be that way. You picked them up from your environment as defense mechanisms, survival mechanisms, whatever they may be. They're not actually part of you. The only danger you've got here is thinking that they are you. So when people say I'm a jealous person, they're condemning themselves into that idea, into that narrative. None of these traits are who you really are. So in order to discover who you really are, you first have to discover who you are not. And this was George Gurdjieff's work in The Search for Miraculous. In order to discover who you are, you first have to decipher who you are not. So all those traits I mentioned is not who you are at your core. And the reason men and women embark on tough training routines, nutritional programs to restore their health, run that first marathon, start the business, is they want to find out who they are at their source. They want to find that out. And if you do something tough enough, all your weaknesses will come kicking and screaming to the surface. And we want that to happen. We want them to we want to actively invite them up. And if you're prepared for them to come up and fight kicking and screaming for life, which is what you do when you threaten their existence, you're far more likely to be able to push ahead and alchemize those negative emotions and habits into something positive, because all they're really looking for is a voice. So that can sound almost religious, can't it, in its context? And that's because it is. The original term or religion came from the Latin term religere, was connecting man to source, connecting man to man. So it is a religious experience. When you go into a tough martial art, or you're going to ultra running, or you're going to starting your own business, and you really go through tough times, you're going to find out who you are and what you're made of. It is a religious experience because it connects you to the source. Everything has to drop away. All your weaknesses have to drop away. Look at instance for an Olympic sport. If you're going for a title or you're training for a competition, you have to have everything in order. You have to eat a certain way. You have to train hard. You have to make sure your mindset's in the right place. You have to deal with negative emotions as they come up. You have to get enough sleep. Everything has to be in alignment. that is a religious experience. You are going to find out exactly what you're made of, which is why I've always said 6 months of really tough judo practice can be worth a lifetime of conventional personal development, because it puts you in such a testing arena that you cannot help but find out who you are and what you're made of. It breaks through patterns and boundaries that often dialogue therapy can't do, or dialogue coaching. So these things are really, really important. But the message I want to give today is, whenever you go and do something, try and come to terms with the idea you may have up to 50% of the people around you, the people you've never even met on social media, knocking you. It may be less. People are going to come out and they're going to trigger the same fears you have in yourself in your environment. And that's the reason it's there for. So look on this as a way that these people serve you. They're serving you by trying to offend you. They're serving you by trying to call you out and insult you, because it reveals to you the chinks in your own armour you have to deal with. And look at the type of society we're living in now. They want to put some kind of legality across the Western world now where people can't be offended. Why? Because that means that people can't grow. They're going to stay weak, fragile, and loveless. Because if you're going to not explore the greatest capabilities you have, you're going to fall to the opposite. So a society that is actually weak, manipulative, controlled is very, very dangerous for humanity. But as men, we can make a decision, each one of us, not to live that way, and have a psychological counterattack to a lot of the stuff that's going on in society by demanding that we actually want a better character. So remember, first discover who you are not, and then by doing that, you're going to discover who you are by letting go of all the things that you were never meant to be and the character you were never meant to live.